Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
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 Gopi Janabala Girivaradari.
Gopi Jana Balabha Girivaradhari.
Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana.
Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana.
Jamuna Tiravan Achori.
Jamuna Tira Banachari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Shishi Radha Madhava Asta Saki Ki Jai.
Jai.
Chaitanya Chandradaya Mandir Ki Jai.
Jai. So Maharaji, can I just take 2 minutes to introduce? There are so many new audience, if you allow me to do that.
I will allow you, sir.
Thank you Maharaji, thank you. Hare Krishna everybody, welcome to our Sunday lecture. So we are very, very fortunate to have association of His Holiness Hanumat-presaka Swami Maharaj. Hanumat-presaka Swami Maharaj is disciple of His Divine Grace S.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj got Brahmin initiation in 1974, and then he took sannyas in 1984. Maharaj, as I know, Maharaj is known for his scholaristic, activity. Right now, Maharaj is doing a lot of, support in terms of setting up the educational foundation for our organization. Also, Maharaj's lifestyle is very, 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 very austere. I'm not sure how many of you have met Maharajji, but coming in future, once everything is settled down, and if we have access to invite Maharajji here in St. Louis, I would definitely like to do that and invite Maharajji in person so that we can have his personal association. So thank you, Maharajji. Thank you so much for taking time. I know you are very busy. We really feel very, very fortunate and blessed that you are giving us your association. Thank you, Maharaji. Back to you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Saplapa Ki Jai.
Jai.
Okay. So for today's topic, we picked one which is distinguishing levels of spiritual advancement for our own progress and for helping others. Sunday Festival 2020, July 5th, ISKCON St. Louis, and H.H.Hanumat-presaka Swami, Anjana Sudha Academy. And there's a little man climbing up the ladder. Okay, next slide. Okay, so this is a verse from Bhagavad Gita 4:10. If you happen to use the, what do you call it, the radio communication codes, there's one called 10.4, which is what is your location? What is your 10.4? This is the exact opposite, 4:10. So please repeat. Vita Raga Bhaya Krodha.
Vita Raga Bhaya Krodha.
Manmaya Mamupashritaha.
Manmaya Mamupasritaha.
Bahavo Jnana Tapasa.
Bhavaho Jnana Tapasya.
Hutamad Bhavam Agataha.
Hutamad Bhavam Agataha.
I'm going to try you chant and we'll respond.
I'll follow you, Maharaji. I was just following you, giving you the...
You go ahead and chant, and then I'll answer. Not going to chant?
Okay. Vita Raga Bhaya Krodha.
Vita Raga Bhaya Krodha.
Manmaya Mamupasritaha.
Mamaya Mamupashitaha
Bhavo Jnana Tapsa
Bhava
Bahojnana tapasa
Bhuta Madbhavam Agataha.
Bhuta.
bhudha madbhavam agataha.
So translation is being freed from attachment, fear, anger, being fully absorbed in me and taking refuge in me. Many, many persons in the past became purified by knowledge of me, and thus they all attained transcendental love for me. So the word me occurs many times, so it's pretty obvious that Krishna is talking about himself. Okay. So the word we're looking at here is the word by word. In the very bottom it says Madbhavam Agataha. So down below our thoughtful chimpanzee is thinking about this and he says Madbhavam. Papa says it means transcendental love for me. Madbhavam. Madbhavam. So Papa's translating the word bhava as prema. Then agataha, attain. Okay. So that's what Prabhupada, one of the things that Prabhupada will discuss in the purport. He'll also discuss what attachment means, what fear means, what anger means. These are also very significant. But for the yoga ladder here, we want to look at the this thing. Madbhavamagataha. So next slide. Okay. So in the purport, Prabhupada says, according to Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1:4:15-6, the science of devotional service. Okay. Yeah. So Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Nectar of Devotion, is divided into 4 parts, just like the ocean. The eastern part, the southern part, the western part, and the northern part, just where the clocks go, the hands go around the clock. So 1 would be 1:4:16 would mean in the eastern part, the beginning. And number 4 would be the 4th wave, because in the ocean there are waves. And in the eastern part, there are 4 waves. So the first part talks about what is devotional service, who is qualified to become a devotee. You know? And then it goes into the basic level of sadhana bhakti, chanting your rounds, getting up early in the morning, these kind of things. And so in 1:4:15 and 16, these verses, then Rupa Goswami gives a summary of the whole process. And this is the yoga ladder. There's many, many ways to describe it. But this is one way that Prabhupada repeats again and again and again. So it's very, very useful to become conscious of this, see it when Prabhupada is quoting it in different books, and then learn how to apply it. So the verse he quotes from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is Adavashwada tata sadhu sangatha bhajana kriya tato narta nivritti shat tato nishta ruchis tata ata sakti tato bhavas tata prema mudanchati sadhakanam ayam premna pradurabhave bhavek krama. So this is where you can actually find the Sanskrit for this. Bhagavad Gita 10.4, no Bhagavad Gita 4.10. Next slide, Master. Okay. So then after citing the Sanskrit, here's how Prabhupada then gives a translation. And you notice the steps are there. Prabhupada says, in the beginning, one must have a preliminary desire for self-realization. Okay. And then that's a do shraddha. Shraddha means faith. A do means starting off, beginning. Okay, a preliminary desire, a little faith. Like, for example, some family member, your sister or somebody says, hey, I met these nice people. This is ISKCON people, Hare Krishnas, you know. And they seem like pretty good people. Why don't you come with me? They have a Sunday program. Okay. So you think, well, okay, I'll go, you know, my sister. But if it's not nice, I won't go again. So this is a doshvada. Now you've got to look at yourself. Are you on that level? Are you here today? I heard about this lecture. I'm going to try it out. But if it's not nice, I won't come back again. where you go and it's okay. The people are pretty cool. The food's good. The music is good. And it makes sense. And the comportment is nice. Huh. Okay. So this will bring one, Prabhupada says, to the stage of trying to associate with persons who are spiritually elevated. And so we do this. We have a little motivation and we start, trying to find out about Buddhism, about Radha Swami, about the Mormons, about Catholic Church, Islam, Shunisha. And so then we try to find somebody who is spiritually advanced. Of course, you can see this is universal. It's not just like a Hare Krishna ISKCON thing. Okay. And I know one boy, he just took off from Argentina, traveling all over the world, very nice guy. And when he got to the Middle East, he met somebody who he felt spiritually advanced, and it seemed like it was. And he asked him what he was, and he said he was a Sufi. He said, okay. So he entered into the Sufi tradition. Boy, onions or something. And if he just met a devotee from ISKCON, he would be like a GBC secretary or something, probably. Very nice person, very intelligent. And it was very nice meeting him. So you can judge people from different religions. He had met like a spiritually advanced person. And number 3, in the next stage, one becomes initiated by an elevated spiritual master. And under his instruction, the neophyte devotee begins the process of devotional service. Doshvada, sadhu sangha, bhajana kriya. So now we actually begin the real work of bhajan. For example, I may be looking for some kind of career. I'm considering engineering, law, medicine. I go to different universities in my area, some a little far away, this and that. And one of them is interesting, so I asked the professor, "Can I just sit in on your class like that?" And I want to take it for credit. And he says, "Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. There's plenty of room." And so you listen like that, and you go through and maybe read the material. And you go around and finally decide, okay, I want a career in engineering, and this school is within my price range, and distance is okay. So then you go to them and you say, hey, what does it take to be a formally matriculated student in your university? And they say this, that. And so this is initiation, diksha. Now we're becoming formally initiated into this process, and there's a very formal contract. If you chant 16 enthusiastic rounds daily, then we guarantee you will be raised eventually to the platform of Uttama Adhikari, step by step. So this is Bhajana Kriya, initiation, and of course there's a lot of details about this. What is a highly elevated, what is an elevated spiritual master? And what is the difference between first initiation and second initiation? But this is the basic principle. Okay, if we do that, anartha nivritti, by execution of devotional service under the guidance of the spiritual master, one becomes free from all material attachments. So we give up smoking, drinking. We can follow the 4 principles, giving up these 4 bad habits, but also subtle habits. Ladies may be attached to different fashion magazines and designer clothes, and men may be attached to baseball games or cricket. But these are different kinds of anarthas or unwanted habits, and they interfere, with our execution of devotional service, which is not material. Okay, so then what happens? Anartha nivritti nishta. We're not looking at these fashion magazines. We're not watching baseball games. We're going to bed early. We're getting up, Mangalartik, nishta. Now we're always up for Brahma Muhurta. Have a really nice program of hearing, chanting, kirtan association. And so by the time the day, day starts, we can really engage very firmly in devotional service. Okay. And so how many people have achieved that? Anartha nivritti nishta. Many people maybe have. They're still working on the anarthas, and then the work will pay off. You'll figure out little by little how to make the progress, how to get rid of that anartha, how to get rid of the bigger anarthas. Okay. Nishta, what's next? Ruchis. Okay, taste. And acquires a taste for hearing about the absolute personality of God. Before, all the taste and everything else was really this relief from suffering. You know, oh Prabhu, I'm so happy. Why? I've stopped smoking. That's not a taste. That's relief from suffering. In Ruchi, you actually begin to relish hearing about things, and you begin. So this is where I would say we're going to start finding raga and nuga, Ruchi raga. And so some people really are attracted to Ayodhya and Ram Lila. Other people are attracted to Dwarka. You know? Other people are attached to Goloka. Yeah, we start to find a certain kind of taste that we want to cultivate, we want to develop, and it really pushes us forward to being very good devotees and doing very, very staunch service. What's next? Asaktis. Okay. This taste leads one further forward to attachment. Asaktis means attachment for Krishna consciousness. There's one story that the atheists, the demons, had captured one Christian preacher in the time of Jesus, and they had tied him over a barbecue grill and were torturing him, burning him on the barbecue grill, going to kill him that way. But after some time, he told them, he said, I think I'm done on this side. You can probably turn me over now. So this is asaktis. In asaktis, you're attached. You're like an addict. The material world is of course, if there's attachment, there has to be detachment. Bhaktivinoda Thakur issued a notification. He said, Bhaktivinoda Thakur has been following Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's process, and he's become attached, to this process. And now he's willing to pay any price to get what Rupa and Raghunath were tasting. If he has to sell his grandmother to the devil, he'll do it. So don't trust Bhaktivinoda Thakur anymore. This is asakti. You're not attached to the material world, to social positions, social standards, social norms, these kind of things like that. So this all develops, and Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, of course, goes on developing this in great detail. For example, somebody may have a small diamond-like heart, a soft, small diamond-like heart. Some devotees are like that. Some have large, soft, diamond-like hearts. Some have large, you can't have soft and diamond at the same time. Okay. It's going to be either soft or hard, big or small. So if you have a soft, very nice, small heart, then you cannot conceal the different bhavas, different ecstasies, different vibhavas that are going to happen like that. You hear about Krishna, and you just start crying, or you start laughing, and you appear like a madman. The Encyclopedia Britannica, it mentions Lord Chaitanya, and it said that he had spiritual epilepsy. Like that. These are greatest scholars in the world. And it says you cannot understand, what's happening. So if we look at it, then we can right away start considering Srila Prabhupada. Did he have a small, soft heart? It appears not, because you cannot be an acharya for ordinary people if that's your condition. Yes, someone like maybe like Gorkishore Das Babaji, surrounded by higher Madhyamadhikaris, they would appreciate what's going on properly and so on. So Prabhupada many times was saying he was very ecstatic, but he had externally being very calm. If you look closely, if you know there's a lot of ecstasy, right below the surface of his appearance like that, but he's keeping it under control. One time Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, Prabhupada, sometimes you have these ecstatic moments and you just kind of lose your consciousness of your surroundings and the lecture, everything. And what should we do when that happens? And he said, Prabhupada said, but I don't do it very often. Okay. So that was it. He's as an acharya for public acharya, then he has to present himself like a Madhyamadhikari, nice devotee, following the process, everything else. This is asaktis. We're attached to the spiritual world, and these different things start to manifest. What happens next? This taste leads one further toward attachment for Krishna consciousness, which is matured in bhava, or the preliminary stage of transcendental love of God. So it's a little difficult to describe bhava. You know, bhava. Number 8, real love for God is called prema. The highest, I can't see that it's covered by the screen here, the highest stage of something or other, the perfection of life. So it's all we can say about bhava in some way is that it is the preliminary stage of prema. Okay. Just looking at this verse is actually, pretty much this complete all in itself. Such a nice description. So we have Kanistadhikari, Madhyamadhikari, Uttamadhikari. It's a science. It's universal. Well, some Christian groups, they call them young men in Jesus, adult men in Jesus, and old men in Jesus. It's the same thing, the same levels. We'll see it happens. If you apply heat to Russian ice, what do you get? Water. Yes. If you apply heat to American ice, what do you get? Whiskey. Oh no, water. Okay. Yes. You apply more heat, you'll get steam. You'll get So if chemistry is a science, what to speak of theology? It has to be more universal and more precise. More precise. The only reason it doesn't seem universal and doesn't seem precise is they don't know what they're doing. It's so advanced. If you look at Teresa of Avila, John of God, Santa Rosa of Lima, you'll find the same things happening in their development, the way they describe it. So understanding the different levels, it's good for us to understand what level I'm on, because there's different medicine at different levels, different way to advance. But then we can also look at people from different other traditions, other perspectives, other ideas, and we can start to communicate with them. One time we were doing a program in Peru, the oldest university in the Western world, San Marcos. And I think it was maybe it was psychology and the sacred. Next year we did art and the sacred. I think that year it was psychology and the sacred. So many different groups there, and people, and people were waiting outside to get in the big auditorium. It was the National Library for like almost an hour. They stood in line to make sure they got a seat and stuff. Good advertising. So one of the presenters was a Sufi. You may know in Islam there are different groups, and technically speaking, the word Sufi means spiritual. But some of the other group branches, one division is called Sufi, and they have more or less their own idea, their own perspective, their own traditions. And whenever I've come in contact with them, the ones I've come in contact with have been very parallel, very easy to understand. And we can communicate very well about serving God and who we are. So after this, Sufi fellow had made his presentation, and I was in the audience with other people. Then I asked him basically how important is the association of devotees and Sufi tradition for making advancement. And he was shocked. It was like, my God, what a what a clear question. It was like this person's got some realizations. So he looked at me quite openly and he said, in Sufi tradition, you advance on two legs. One is the association of devotees, and the other is the mercy of God. Okay, we're in the same. Another person, he was doing interfaith dialogue, and he said it's like going up a mountain. On one side, there may be a nice pathway, but it's a foot pathway all the way. Okay. Other side, there may be a cable car, which takes you halfway up quite quickly, but then you get into some tough going above that. So he said different religions depend upon how people are starting, where they're beginning from, what they're doing, and what kind of things they're going to encounter. But he was saying the higher we go, we should start to discover that the differences become smaller. The differences, Okay, it's okay in their religion to eat meat, to kill animals, to cut their throats. But as you go higher, you discover that if you can avoid this, that Allah is very pleased. very happy if you're not eating meat. Okay. Yeah. And so I think with Muslims that we had this Sufi fellow, every single thing he said we agreed on. It was like yes, yes, wow, and it was like nice. It's very nice seeing these things from different levels, different perspectives, because it gives us, like even though Thakur says, it allows us to understand our process better. So everything was the same thing, but it was kind of like the very last thing. It seems an Arab Muslim gives up his coffee. Kind of like the last idea is to finally meet Allah, face to face and share coffee with him. It's kind of like the ultimate reality. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, it's different people, different perspectives, but all these stages, the doshvara, sadhu sangha, bhajana kriya, anarta, nivritti, nishta, ruchi, asaktis, bhava, prema, are there in reality in different traditions. Just a little more here. Next slide, maestro. Okay. Now, Nectar of Instruction. Prabhupada says in the purport, Nectar of Instruction is the first instructions for neophyte devotees. And of course, we're fanatics on this book. I think it's quite well. So it's a very, very nice book to make the basis of your Bhaktivedanta library. We have a whole PowerPoint show which organizes all of Prabhupada's books and shows that they're integrated relationship. But Nectar of Instruction is is the essence. It's an extract. And if you read the purports carefully, if you follow the citations that are in there, you discover it's a tremendous education just in itself. So text number 8 says, Sha Krishna Nama Charitadi Sitapiya Vidya Yatopatapta Rasanasya Narochik Adum Kindvadarat Anudidam Kalusaiva Justa Svadvikramad Bhavati Tadgata Mulahantri. The holy name, character, pastimes, activities. Nama, says Nama Charit Adi. Usually it says Nama, okay, Nama Rupa. Nama Charit, that's name, character, Adi. And we start getting pastimes and activities of Krishna are all transcendentally sweet, like sugar candy. Although the tongue of one afflicted by the jaundice of avidya, ignorance, cannot taste anything sweet. It is wonderful that simply by carefully chanting these sweet names every day, a natural relish awakens within his tongue, and his disease is gradually destroyed at the root. So, of course, this is so deep. Upadeshamrita is like a summary of Nectar of Devotion. So many parallels. First text is the same as 112 in Nectar of Devotion. Engage your senses in the service of the owner of the senses. Rishikesha Rishikena Sevanam Bhakti Ruchate. Your tongue, your belly, your genitals, your mind, and your anger. Okay, all these can be connected to Krishna. Then text number 2 talks about 6 things that'll make it difficult to engage your senses like that. Over collecting, working too hard for mundane things, keeping bad association. Text number 3 talks about 6 things that'll make it very easy. Being enthusiastic, being patient, following the footsteps of the previous acharyas, like that. Then 4, 5, 6 talk about association. What is association? How to recognize these different levels of devotees and associate with them properly. And then finally, 7 and 8 go back to the process, the steps along the way. Because the whole thing of getting association is that we should be also following the process. But of the 2, the association is more prominent because the process will follow automatically. Okay, so here he's giving a nice description. In the beginning, We have avidya, ignorance. We think we are this body. We think we are the controller. We think we are the master. We think we are God. Okay. Yeah. But and so we cannot, if we're asked to go to church, I saw, when there's India West was a very prominent magazine, American newspaper, and they developed different branches. Sometimes somebody wrote, some years ago, he said, if we go to the temple and we have to give, $20 or something, we think it is ghastly, you know. But he said we can take our kids to the mall and spend $100 on toys and all these kind of things with no problem. And he said if we have to sit through a 1 hour Bhagavatam class, it is like death. It is terrible. But he said we can watch 6 hours of cricket or Bollywood movies with no problem. But this is exactly the situation. We have a taste for mundane flattery, praise, vanity, or suffering, lamentation. But in the beginning, nothing. But if we, where is it here? Carefully chant, okay, chant according to the process, then this disease is destroyed at the root. You can chase the cobras out of the tree, but they'll come back. You can be very, very austere and clean and simple, like a Buddhist, have very simple possessions, have your senses under control, have your mind under control. But in your heart, you have the greatest ignorance. I will become God. I will become the Buddha. Yeah. So by chanting properly, following an acharya, the disease is destroyed at the root. And because of that, then we like to hear about Krishna. We like to talk about these things, And we can see it's not a small thing. And you can cut the weeds off and they'll grow back. Mark Twain said, I have no problem giving up smoking. He said, I've already done it 25 times. Yeah. So we all know that. Every morning and every day in the morning, we get up early and we're pure devotees. And the battle starts, and by the time the evening comes, we're just looking for any kind of more gross gratification to I don't know, rice, pizza, whatever your particular thing is, to to try and calm ourselves down. But as we go on, we rise above the modes and stuff. So this is his basic statement. Now within the purport, Prabhupada says, next slide, maestro. Okay. Prabhupada says, the conclusion is that in order to get free from the material disease, one must take to the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. The Krishna consciousness movement is especially meant for creating an atmosphere in which people can take to the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. One must begin with faith. Hey, Prabhupada's paraphrasing our famous verse. You'll see it again and again now. Many times the actual verse is not there. Very rarely is the actual verse there, which is seen many times in our books. This is being paraphrased. And so understand it, learn it. This is how we're going to understand where we're at, how to make progress, and where other people are at. One must begin with faith. And when this faith is increased by chanting, a person can become a member in the sadhu sangha of the society. If one is sincere, he is initiated. And this stage is called bhajana kriya. One then actually engages in the service of the Lord by regularly chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra 16 rounds daily and refraining from illicit sex, intoxicants, meat eating, and gambling. In ISKCON for Harinam Diksha, we probably required that people be following the process for 6 months and living in the temple. Then they could take Harinam Diksha. There's been confusion about this. We think even at GBC level, and we reformed this. And then Prabhupada said, for second initiation, there must be more consideration in 1 year. So that's what the 1 year comes in. The real initiation in Vedic culture is what we call second initiation, with the Gayatri Mantra, the thread like that. One time Prabhupada was talking to an Indologist, maybe like 30 years old, some scholar, in England. He seemed like a nice person, but in that atmosphere, you've got to like get a little arrogant and compete over your intellectual abilities. So you seem to have a little bit of that pride or something, But basically, he's a very nice person. And so he was talking with Prabhupada, and he said, "So do you give Diksha?" And Prabhupada said, "Yes." And to the women, yes, I give to the ladies also. But then Prabhupada said, "But first we give Harinam Diksha, and it is more or less experimental." He said, when we see that the students are properly advanced, then we actually initiate them. So if you read through this purport, you'll see that that's the way Prabhupada's talking about it. Actually initiated, spiritually initiated. It took me many years to understand this. That's why. Okay, yeah. In the beginning, when Prabhupada gave Harinam Diksha in New York, he didn't inform the people that they had to follow the 4 principles. They had to do this and that. So that was the standard, as far as I know, generally in the Gaudiya Math, generally, especially before Prabhupada's some success. That's what Prabhupada is saying here. At a certain point, you put people, so you're advanced, okay, we'll give you Harinam Diksha. You chant regularly, and then you're giving up these bad habits. And then if you're steady, fixed, after 1 year, you take second initiation. So Prabhupada was telling this person, he said, first we give Harinam Diksha, it's more or less experimental. And when we see the students are sufficiently advanced, then we actually initiate them. And then Prabhupada says, but Jiva Goswami says that in this age, Harinam Diksha is sufficient. So there it is. If you don't have to take second initiation, it's a formality. It's not a meaningless formality. But if you realize that your nature is Shudra, you're an electrical engineer, mechanical engineer, like Jayananda, more than it seems like an avatar. So much association with him. But he one time he went 72 hours without sleeping or eating to make sure the Rathayatra came off like that. And that was happening in so many ways. So close to Prabhupada. But he was an electrical engineer. He's a trained Shudra. He loved working with big machines, big guy. And so for him, his Brahman thread was black with automobile grease. He'd forgotten some of the mantras, everything else. So for him to take the second initiation was Dvija. It wasn't really necessary. It wasn't really appropriate in some ways. But because it's so tied in because of the caste thing, even in ISKCON, okay, Prabhupada takes second initiation. He wasn't always in Mangalarti. Why is that? Because he was off driving our big old van to the market with some new bhaktas, to get produce early in the morning. It was open then. But he would always engage them. Okay, Bhakta Leroy, look over there. It's a paper. We're going to sing the Mangalarti song. They would sing it one-on-one with Jayananda. You come back, put the produce away, then you come to my little office in the temple on Valencia Street, the old mortuary. Hey, Hanuman Swami. I wasn't Swami. Hey, Hanuman, let's have a little reading. So I'd sit and read with him and talk, and it was very nice. So then I realized Raganuga, everything was there. He had a taste. He had to have Mangalarti at that time. He had to have Kirtan. He had to read Prabhupada's books. But because of his service and everything else, he wasn't like a formal example. So second initiation, you have to act like a Brahmana, Kshatriya, or high-class Vaishya. You have to have a proper comportment for a lady, proper comportment for a gentleman. So that if the neophyte looks at you, they'll see, oh, that's how those people with those shreds, that's how they're acting, that's what they're doing. And just by following, the example, they'll be okay. Okay, I guess ladies sit here, men sit here. Yeah. So, Bhajana Kriya, okay, initiated, okay, regularly chanting Maha Mantra 16 round, refrain from illicit sex. By Bhajana Kriya, one attains freedom from the contamination of materialistic life. In this way, it is to be understood that one is becoming cleansed of unwanted things, anartha-nivritti. Anarthas are vanquished when one becomes attached to Krishna. Okay, what's that called in Sanskrit? Asaktis. Yes. He becomes fixed. Okay, nishta. So maybe Prabhupada's changing the order. In executing his activities, indeed he becomes attached. Okay, nishta asaktis. Hey, okay, back up to Krishna consciousness movement activities. Indeed, he becomes attached to such activities and experiences ecstasy, bhava, in executing devotional service. This is called bhava, the preliminary awakening of dormant love of God. It's the same thing. Our knowledge is spiral. It's not German, one step after another going straight up. We'll discuss in Prabhupada's books, you hear the same things again and again. But pay attention because you're hearing them from a different perspective. You know, it's like a spiral, same things again and again, going higher. But aha, oh, that's like my sister. That's yes. Now I can see where she's at. Now I can see. Oh, hey, now I know how to help her. Yeah, or yourself. Okay, next slide. Thus, the conditioned soul becomes free from material existence and loses interest in the bodily conception of life, including material opulence, material knowledge, and material attraction of all variety. It's not just gross, also material knowledge and opulence. At such a time, one can understand who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and what is his Maya. Although Maya may be present, it cannot disturb a devotee once he attains the bhava stage. This is because the devotee can see the real position of Maya. Maya means forgetfulness of Krishna. Forgetfulness of Krishna and Krishna consciousness stand side by side, like light and shadow. By taking to Krishna consciousness, one gradually becomes liberated and remains in light. Indeed, he does not even touch the darkness. This confirmed in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 22:31. What is that? Sanatan Shiksha. Yeah. Chapter 19 is Rupa Shiksha. Then 20 through, I think it's 23, is Sanatan Shiksha. Again, out of all these books and all these literatures, some things in the Prabhupada library are more prominent. There's a hierarchy of things to study, to know. You know? So Lord Chaitanya told Sanatana Goswami, Krishna Surya Sam Maya Hoya Andhakar. Yahan Krishna Tahan Nahi Maya Adhikar. Krishna is compared to the sunshine. Maya is compared to darkness. Wherever there is sunshine, there cannot be darkness. Okay? As soon as one takes to Krishna consciousness, the darkness of illusion, you can't see it here, is gone. Okay, that's the first one. Now, this is a little point here. So many things, of course, but this is some of the prominent ones that stand out. Because that means that once you come to the bhava stage, okay, you plant your seed. You don't know what it is. Somebody gives you a seed and this before he dies and said, this will make you rich. So what do? You plant it. Okay. What do? Proper water, proper sunlight, proper protection. Okay. And it grows. Okay. Okay, it becomes a sprout. Yeah. It becomes a sapling. Okay. Keep it straight. Okay. Yeah. It produces leaves. Okay. And finally, it produces a little fruit. And somebody says, oh, that's a mango. Or something. Well, that's a so-and-so apple. Oh, yeah. So at Baba, this is the beginning of Uttama Adhikari. Kanistaka Adhikari goes up to the level of Bhajana Kriya. You take initiation, then Majjhima Adhikari starts. This our understanding of it. And then at Baba, you come to the point of actually Uttama Adhikari. Of course, it's not little boxes, this box, that box, that's German. No, it's more like a bell curve. Maybe you're at Nishta, but sometimes you have some doubts. Once a year, maybe you have some doubts, okay? And maybe once a year, you actually experience Bhava and Prema, okay, for a moment, okay? But your basic level is, Nishta, advancing. So in Bhava, you know your transcendental swarup, your relationship with Krishna. You know this is an apple, a little apple, but it's green. It's not ripe. But you know, it's no longer any doubt. My relationship with Krishna. I am a cow. My name is Clarabelle. I give strawberry milk. Okay, I eat strawberries. You know, but it's just not, manifest. So at this level, it's not a matter of following rules and regulations. You know, it's a whole different thing to go from the Bhava level to the Prema level and be fully awake. All we're talking about is waking up to the whole process like that. Okay. Let's just say that Krishna Prema, Sadhika Punaya. So one example of this, many examples in the Bhagavatam is Maharaj Bharata. He renounced everything. He gave up all of his anarthas. He was living in the forest. He was following the process. He was experiencing bhava, emotion, sentiment. But then one little deer came to his ashram. Bhoktaram Yagatapashyam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suhridam Sarvadehinam. I'm everybody's best friend. He wasn't influenced by lust. He wasn't influenced by greed, but he was influenced by pride. I'm everybody's best friend. This is a very subtle one. So Krishna was that little deer's best friend, but he started interfering. So he fell in Maya. But in the purport, Prabhupada says he didn't fall in Maya. It was not an accidental fall down. You cannot have an accidental fall down on the level of Bhava. In Upadeshamrita, it says, one falls from the Paramahamsa platform as soon as he becomes envious. But it's not an envy which is coming because of stimulation, because of the environment. It's not like some accidental reaction. No, you consciously did that. Krishna, but Maharaj Bharata knew he was taking away Krishna's relationship and cheating this deer. But he did it. Okay. So therefore we can see that we can fall from the spiritual world. We have free will always. This is the bhaya we were talking about. Ita raga bhaya krodha. We become afraid of our spiritual existence. But then we have to face it, that we actually have free will and we can leave Krishna anytime we want to. But the other side of the coin is that we have free will and Krishna doesn't know what we're going to do. We're going to come up with new things which will really delight Radha, Krishna, and the gopis. Like little children, they're very small, but they can come up with delightful little ideas and stuff, Yeah, very good. And then when that's amplified by their big sister, their mother, it becomes unlimited. So this is the point. From the platform of Bhava, at this point, we cannot have an accidental fall down. Now, okay, next slide. Master. Hurry up here. Okay. So text number 8, he goes on and talks then about, this continues. Text number 7 sets us free. We get rid of the disease, but we continue with the same process, nama rupa charitari. Okay, and by that process, we become liberated, and then we actually start to develop a taste for chanting. So now, next slide. Okay. Chaitanya Charitamrita advises those who are neophytes to give up all kinds of motivated desires and simply engage in the regular principles of devotional service. Okay, following the scriptures. This is Vaidya Bhakti. So if we do this, what's going to happen? He says, comes to the next stage, which is called Raga Bhakti. So we're looking at this about the level of ruchi. In the beginning, you're following rules and regulations. That's how you're doing. It's called Vaidya Bhakti, one of the 2 parts of sadhana bhakti. But at a certain point, you're actually liberated by that. You're always making the offering on time to the deities at noon. Everything is there. But then you're thinking, well, I'm doing it on time. Hey, Krishna, here's your lunch. I'll be back in 30 minutes. But you're thinking, but where's the feeling? Okay, how does Mother Yashoda offer lunch to Krishna? How do the cowherd boys offer lunch to Krishna? So you're pretty liberated, so you can start to actually think about these things, and different things start to show up. You're in touch with the Paramatma, the right people, the right scriptures, they're all starting to manifest. And so then you start to actually be able to follow the raga, of an advanced devotee. Hanuman, the gopis, Bhima. Yeah. This is raga nuga, going after the raga. A raga nuga follows a raga atmika. There was a misprint in the nectar of devotion, which was confusing everybody with everything else. It's like you're practicing the piano. Okay, you can play it, but it's very kind of rough going along. So your teacher sits down next to you and says, "Okay, look, I'll play this song on the violin, and we'll go play it together." You know. So when you're playing with him, you can get into the raga, little help like that, and you can feel that song, what it feels like, heroism, bravery, honor, you know. But when he's not there, okay, then you go on, yeah, yeah. So this is a very nice way to advance this raganuga. And of course, you may have a little bit of this. You may not be really fixed in it, but again, it's something we can take advantage of this. You know? And then after this, I kind of got to start moving here. Program, okay. Okay. Raganuga Bhakti or spontaneous devotional service can be executed in Shantaras when one aspires to be like the stick in Krishna's hand or his flute. These are all in Shantaras, but it's Goloka Shantarasa. Okay. Then Dasya, like Chitrak, Patrak, Raktak. Sakya, like Sridham, Sudam. And funny, Madhuri Ras, like Rupa and Rati Manjari or Radharani. Okay, next slide. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So we're almost we're on schedule here, looks like. Okay. So that's kind of a little summary of the yoga ladder from Avidya to Prema. And the progress is gradual, but it doesn't mean that it has to take you 50 or 60 years. You know, we can actually, publicists actually make rapid progress, but we'll see it going through different stages and developing like that. You know? And basically just chant Hare Krishna and take prasad, and the association of devotees and everything else will follow. But as we develop some kind of understanding like this, then it helps us to put that together properly and purify ourselves. So basically that's it. Adarshvada, sadhu sangha, bhajana kriya, anartha nivritti, nishta, ruchi, asaktis, bhava, prema. Okay. So here maybe we'll go ahead then and ask, are there any questions or comments or complaints? Okay.
Thank you, Maharaji. So I see many devotees or disciples of Maharaji who have joined the call. This is the basically program hosted by Krishna Balaram Temple, St. Louis, but this is your home. We are very, very happy that you have joined the program. So please feel free to ask the questions. Do not hesitate. If you have anything that you would like to ask, unmute yourself and please ask. And also, once everything gets normal, please feel free to stop by if you live nearby. We'll be more than happy to have your association. So please do not hesitate. And if you have any questions, please ask.
Many of them are in South America.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I know some of them. I met them in the symposium. So yes. So if anybody has,
I just kind of stop by. Yeah.
Anybody has any comment, any question, anything, please feel free to ask.
What is your level? Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Yes, sir.
Please
Are you going to stop by?
Actually,
you may be stopping by. You're going to go. Maybe going cross country. Bye.
Your voice is breaking, Guru Maharaj. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you okay. Yeah.
Okay, now I can hear you all right. Yeah. Sorry, my Zoom picture is like 20 years old. It's my office laptop. Guru Maharaj, 4 to 6 NOI, 4 to 6 is association. So the process is 7, 8, and 9 as well, or is it just 7 and 8?
Well, in our analysis, 7 and 8, especially talking about the process and the steps like that. But then what happens, it kind of goes in 2 dimensions then, because he's talking about the Raganuga Bhakti in text number 8, but Raganuga Bhakti then is accomplished in Vrindavan, where you can have the raga properly, everything else like that, the way he's describing it. So it becomes the process, the association, and the place, the Dhamma. This is always the place. If you're looking for a drunkard, you go to a bar. If you're looking for a priest, you go to a church. If you're looking for Radharani, you go to Radhakund. So text number 9, then, I think what he talks about Vaikuntha Janitovara.
Mm.
It's very much related. If we're talking about Raganuga Bhakti, we're not talking about the material world at all. We're talking about different places within Vrindavan, like that. Yeah.
Mm. So Guru Maharaj, you also mentioned how the process becomes easier when we are in the association. So I'm curious, even the verses in verse number 3, for example, enthusiasm and all those, they also become easier in the association. Is that right?
What's the last part again?
Even the items to execute Krishna consciousness, like what is beneficial for Krishna consciousness, NOI 3, Utsaha, Nishya, Dhairyat, even they become easier in association, right? Even to acquire those qualities also association is required, right?
One time Jayananda said, Krishna consciousness means eating and sleeping in the best of company. He said, just eat prasadam and sleep in the brahmacharya ashram and you'll have no problems. Yeah, if you're in the brahmacharya ashram and everybody's getting up around you, what are you going to do? You get up. Yeah. So yeah, it becomes very easy to follow the rules and regulations because everybody else is doing it. Yeah. To dress a certain way, all these things.
So Guru Maharaj, then what if association is not always available? For example, of course, when one is very advanced, then it's natural they think of Krishna. Someone like Bhakti Charu Swami, he left his body alone in the hospital because he had COVID. That could happen. If that happens to devotees who are not so advanced, they don't have association, then isn't there a threat that we will fall down? So should there be a practice even without association? How do we, how do we ensure that we will be all right even when there is no association?
The basic principle is that Krishna is the controller. He's quite conscious of what's happening. Yes, agents, everything else. So was it Advaita Acharya? Non-dual. Whatever's happening to us is happening because Advaita Acharya is beating us with a stick or fanning us with a feather. Yeah, we're never without association. So whatever association we're getting, that's the association Krishna is giving us. Of course, we may have to make a little adjustment here and there. Move a little bit this way or that way, or where maybe we're not opening our hands. Of course, there are nice stories talking about this, that Krishna is trying to send us with a association, the proper association, but for different reasons, we want something else. So I would say, as soon as we think we're not getting proper association, that means that we're in Maya. Yeah, Krishna's sending it. So we got to start a little more serious to look and see what we got. And of course, there's so many ways to get it. Trivikram Swami was in Hong Kong and he was saying, I'm here all alone, Prabhupada, I don't have any association, want to go back to Japan. And Prabhupada saying, all these things. I was alone in New York and nothing.
Guru Maharaj, your voice broke.
So that's for
could you please repeat?
Yeah, Trivikram Swami in Hawaii. You got that?
Yes.
Not Hawaii, Hong Kong. Yeah.
Hong Kong.
So he was telling Prabhupada, I don't have any association all alone. And Prabhupada all over Europe, so on. But different people are on different levels, and Krishna's quite conscious that if you're on the level of being a sannyasi, okay, then you can get association that way. But if you're a small child, okay, maybe you need something else, So that's my main point, is that we're not trying to avoid association. It's there, and we're understanding how to get it and looking for it. So that's why I would say there's never any question of really not having association if we're sincere.
Maharaj, there is one question posted in the chat room. So if you would like, I can read it.
Okay, go ahead.
This is question coming from Nicole Sylvia. And she is saying, I have a question, dear Maharaj. How can we know what state we are in without feeling a smug about it? or pride?
Okay. I would say one of the first, all these things, it's a big science in some ways, you know, things. I have one friend, Yajnavalkya Das, he was real nice, very Brahminical, you know, brahmachari. So he came to San Francisco and was there for several years. But before that, he'd been in the Boston Temple, okay, you know. So he told me that one time it was Mangala Artik and there was, you know, no one to lead Mangala Artik. And so finally everybody said, well, you got you do it. You know the song, you play the drum. Okay, yeah, all right. All right, you know. So he said, people were chanting and he was leading and he was getting really enthusiastic, you know. And then he told me, he said, he thought to himself, wow, I bet all the brahmacharinis are really noticing, like, you know, I'm leading a really good kirtan here. You know? I'm a big devotee, you know. So he kind of looked over out of the corner of his eyes, and all the brahmacharinis kind of had the ends of their saris over their faces. They were kind of laughing, you know. And he looked down, and his dhoti had fallen off. So there he was, leading the kirtan in his underwear. And he ran out the room, you know, leaving the drum behind everything else, you know, and cursing Krishna, you rascal, you stole my dhoti, you know, butter thief, and so on. You know. But yeah, he took it. So that's what happened is that Indra became proud, you know, but then you know, Krishna found some way to curb his pride. Brahma became proud. You know? So Krishna will do it. Okay, as our friend, and he'll try and do it in such a way that it's okay. It's nice education, you know. So that's basically it. And the Krishna will tell you. And of course, he may tell you through the devotees. He may tell you through different experiences. But yeah, look, Krishna will always, if we want to, Krishna will always correct our pride. You know? Jayananda, most famous for humility, said, pride doesn't mean being artificially big or artificially small. It means understanding what is your real position. Prabhu, I'm the most fallen. I can't do that. No. What is your actual position? You know? And that's what humility means. You know? Yeah.
There is one more Maharajji in the chat room.
Okay.
So this is coming from Sugopi Palakala Mataji. She's saying, what I put together is that Srila Prabhupada said he was getting the association of Paramatma, and he gave this one example of being alone in New York. So I think this is yes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I was just trying to put it in the chat because Guru Maharaj's voice was cracking at that time when he was answering the question about association.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. How are you, Mataji?
I'm good. How are you?
Thank you. Very good. Thank you. Welcome. Welcome. Okay. Thank you. So anybody has any question from our group here? Last one question.
St. Louis.
Louis.
What is he?
Yes,
Louis the 8th or something? Louis the 8th, yeah. Prabhupada said San Francisco was a holy city because it was named after a saint.
Yeah. Yeah, there are so many places nearby, as you know, St. Louis, St. Charles, St. Peter, St. Joseph.
Oh.
So many names.
Look them up. Okay, so somebody has a comment there?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Hare Krishna Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Jai.
Maharaj, I have two questions. One related to the class and one is not related.
Okay.
The first question is in your very first slide, you mentioned when you mentioned the stages of devotion, you said that steadiness in self-realization. So my question is, as a practicing sadhana bhakti, so how we improve the steadiness, staying focused and fixed in our sadhana. Any pointers, Maharaj, like to improve the steadiness?
Of course, so many details, and that, of course, then you got to have detailed knowledge of the teacher, detailed knowledge of the student. One time, Satsvarup Maharaj, he said he asked Prabhupada, Prabhupada, how can I chant better rounds? He said, Prabhupada looked at him with very pointy eyes and said, by chanting better rounds. So that's basically, we improve by doing it, you know. Our modern world is so impressed with science, which means knowledge, that we take knowledge as being the real goal, the real controller. But it's not. It's actually love. It's actually devotion. It's actually determination, you know, personal will. You know? And because of that, then we'll develop a certain kind of knowledge, everything else. So once you make the preliminary determination that I want to become more steady, in what? Well, it depends. Different people are different. You know, their positions. Somebody may be just more steady in only smoking afternoon time or something. Somebody's trying to get free from a tobacco addiction. So they say, okay, I'm not going to smoke until the afternoon. I'll do that now. And somebody else may be in a much higher platform. Yeah? But once you make the determination that I'm going to do this, I'm going to be more steady in my service, you know, then, you know, knowledge will start coming about details, about how to do it. And of course, it depends. Like I was saying, some people, their steadiness means to follow the four principles strictly. Somebody, their steadiness means not to eat too much rice late at night. Somebody else, it means, you know, yeah, like that. So that's what I would say, is it takes determination. And then, yeah, you'll discover at your level, talking to other devotees and stuff, what the particular things you need are at your level.
Thank you, Maharaj. That helps. Thank you. The question that I have not related to the class, Maharaj, I noticed that the Anjana Sutta Academy, I never heard of that. So I just wanted to ask you if you want to put some words on what is that about, the Anjana Sutta Academy?
Okay. I took sannyas, and I was reading in one purport. Prabhupada said every sannyasi should be head of his own institution for preaching Krishna consciousness. I don't know, when was that? Maybe 84 or something like that. Okay, so then our name is Hanumat-presaka. So I decided, okay, Anjana is Hanuman's mother. So Anjana Sutta, another famous name for Hanuman. So we started the Anjana Sutta Academy. And for a while, we even had a fictitious business name. But now basically it's unincorporated or something sole proprietor legally. I don't use the DBA anymore. So we have the web page, and from there we publish a periodical every 2 weeks, you know, full moon and new moon. It's actually the oldest periodical in ISKCON, besides BTG. And then we're developing different projects, you know. If you go there, it's pretty simple, you know, communication. And from that, of course, we have an esoteric branch, which is NEOS, North American Institute for Oriental and Classical Studies. I'm driving right now across Nashville, 10 minutes, to meet Nitai Gaur Sundar Das, Dr. Ravi Prakash Singh, who is the president of NEOS. Yeah. And he met Prabhupada a long time ago. He's a psychiatrist. So with that, we're developing. You can go look at it. There's information there, newsletters there. We're developing different programs. And mostly, a lot of them are cultural and academic. That's our nature is cultural and academic programs like that. The universities, Hamlet and Arjuna. That's been very popular. Even the Nobel laureate candidates and stuff participating. You know, just a little bit about it. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Thank you so much. We feel very, very blessed to have your association tonight, Maharaj. And we would like to have your personal darshan whenever this thing gets normal. We'll try to talk to you and see if you can come and give us more of your association. I know that your presentation really helps us a lot in very deep way to understand Krishna consciousness philosophy. I have been hearing you. So thank you so much. And I'm sure that other members of our congregation will feel the same when they will have more of your association. So thank you so much, Maharaji, for coming and giving us your association tonight. Also, thank you to all the devotees who are, I don't know what is the time there, but you took time and you joined the program to give us your association. So we feel very, very, over enjoyed and blessed also for you all of, being part of this program. So thank you so much, everybody. Hare Krishna. Before we adjourn, I would like to chant Vaishnava Pranams. Vanchkalpa tarubhyasya indubhya evasya patitanam pavabhyo
Hare
Vaishnavibhyo
Krishna.
His Holiness Hanumat-presaka Swami Maharaj ki
Jai.
Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Sir Prabhupada ki Sadhu Swami Maharaj ki Jai Sambal Bhakta Vrind ki Jai Nitai Gaur Prem Nandi Hari Hari Bol Anant Koti Vaishnava Vrind ki Jai. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, everybody. Dandvat Pranams, Maharaj ji, all the devotees who are on the call. Thank you so much. Dandvats. Hare Krishna.